Hey Aries, how y'all doing? Welcome. We're going to be taking a look at your second half of December general reading here. So in the meditation, just go with me on this. I've got a bit of a niche reference. So I saw the image of someone who was on reality TV. It doesn't happen too often, but it's an image of someone named Kyle Cook. And just briefly, he's like a Bravo celebrity. He's on a show called Summer House and Winter House. And anyway, he represents an archetype. He's an entrepreneur, right? Works very hard to the point of high stress. But he's also, coming from a reputation of, really loving to party and overdo it. And so he represents extremes. So I saw this image of him, and I feel like that represents you as the Aries collective, falling backwards into a pool. And the pool was beautiful, lovely, felt like summertime. But then falling to the bottom of the pool, and then as this image of him as the Aries collective was kind of lying at the bottom of the pool, like on the floor of it. And then I saw the pool start to freeze over. And it became like its own cryo chamber. And I saw, this image of this frozen person, and then some time go by, and then I saw this beaver come and start scratching at the ice and start breaking down the ice and kind of reach down and pull, this person out of the ice. And then the person, Aries collective, Kyle Cook, warmed up being outside of the ice, and then looked at this beaver sort of like, whoa, where am I? And then the beaver said, come on, like, let's go to work. It's time. This has been, you've rested, you've been frozen long enough, let's go. So really fascinating here, because when I think about cryotherapy, I've never done it personally, but this is what it feels like to me. I think it's about healing and, regenerating the cells and rejuvenation. And it's something that you do for your health. And it's an extreme, it's an extreme form of winding all the way down so that you can really build your energy back up and then move forward in a balanced and less extreme and unencumbered way. So it's fascinating here that we're looking at the second half of December. We are going into Yule season. That season is very much about doing as nature does in the northern hemisphere. If you're in the southern hemisphere, you can look at it through a slightly different lens and what is that for you in terms of hibernation or how do you honor, this need within you with this time of year with your current climate. But in the northern hemisphere, it really is about mirroring nature. And as the trees lose their leaves, we have an opportunity to, to go within and metaphorically die or freeze ourselves so that we can, move forward into the future with all of the strength and energy and focus and inspiration and excitement that we need. So it's fascinating that you guys are being shown in your own kind of makeshift cryo chamber. Beaver energy, the fact that it was a beaver that pulled you out of there when the time was right. Beaver energy is Eight of Pentacles energy, which is about hard work and talent meeting up with divine timing, but it also speaks of doing the inner work of soul growth, self-awareness, and self-progress and evolution. There's also an aspect of Beaver energy which is why it's so brilliant. If someone has a beaver archetype, which I feel like this person representing you guys in this context does, they love working really, really hard, and they can't really relax and enjoy themselves unless they know that all the work has been done. So it's that beaver energy of work hard, play hard, right? So there's this aspect of this coming into play, which speaks of a time for things and really dedicating to doing less and being still just like you would when it's time to do the most and be at work and be active, right? Or moving forward. So Beaver energy also, speaks of King of Cups energy, which speaks of emotional balance and is able to take dreams that are dreamt up by the Knight of Cups and actually make them a reality, right? So it's interesting that this is coming through for you in this way, but I feel like you're being called to really take this from the sense of what in you could really use some healing. How can you rejuvenate yourself during this time where it's the time of year where this is when we're invited to do so. There is no better time than to really go about doing this and honoring that in every part of every growth cycle is a dormant cycle. So really interesting. Let's go ahead and see what your cards say. Hey Aries, let's go ahead and see what your animal energy is for the second half of December. Oh, so good. Starfish energy. No one else has gotten this in this round, and I'm, towards the end here. So this is really special, unique energy for you. So starfish energy is Gemini energy, right? This equates to the Lover's Key and the Tarot, which is about love-based choices and also inner and outer duality. Fascinating. I'm thinking of the concept of being frozen in fear, right? Because we had that cryo chamber, being frozen. Also that aspects of extremes coming through, that energy of Kyle Cook and someone who has a reputation for, working themselves just to the point of just complete exhaustion, and then also loving to party to the point of complete exhaustion. So really that energy of extremes. It's interesting here because we have beautiful water energy, and we had a lot of water in that meditation with the swimming pool and then freezing over and then the beaver coming through with that King of Cups reference. But there's also a part of starfish energy that speaks of appearances, right? There's a shallow edge to this that speaks of, when we judge a book by its cover, or we're just focused on how things appear, it really cuts us off from really having access to our own inner depths and really seeing things that exist only beneath the surface, right? So it's interesting here, very, very interesting here. Also 5 points here to this star. 5 is the number of change. And I do feel like there's something coming through for you around that, around change and transformation and really switching up the way that you do things and the way that you move forward, because it does feel like there's a call for some sort of like new era or new way of going about things. But I feel like first it's about, powering down and healing yourself in some way, so that you can move forward with a more balanced reality. Because when we're coming from a place of extremes, it's usually fear-based, right? At the core of it, some way, shape, or form, right? So something to think about there. Let's see what's going on. Death, Scorpio energy. Well, we were just talking about change and transformation, and then we have the key of change and transformation. So this is things ending so that new things can begin. This beautiful condor energy speaks of standing on what has been and understanding that it got you to where you are, but it's not going to get you to where you're going, not where you want to be going anyway. So it's about being willing, being open to undergo a personal transformation and metamorphosis. Interesting with that frozen aspect and really then coming out of it like brand new and fresh, right? It's fascinating here with this death. I feel like where you're going, or the potential of where you're going, cannot exist or happen with the current approach to your current approach to work and play and relationships, but more than anything, the relationship that you have to yourself and your own self-care. I'm hearing the concept of parent and child. Parent and child. Let's just take this as an example. So when someone's inner parent is in charge, that voice is going to sound a lot like, you need to work harder, don't be lazy, no, you can't rest yet, you haven't done this, or no, if you're tired, you need to push through, have a cup of coffee, no, you need to get this done. Then the child comes along and as a reaction to that sometimes and can say, no, I refuse. I'm digging my heels in. I want to play. I want to be still. I want to be in the present moment. You're pushing me. You're adulting me too hard. What about enjoyment of life? What about just being where I am, right? So that we have these two aspects of ourselves that exist, right? So I'm getting with this that it's calling for a transformation of kind of those two ego states and really understanding like in what ways, one is in, more present form than the other at any given time. Because it feels like there's some sort of call to really look at that within yourself. And a good diagnostic around that as well is oftentimes our parent voice, when we are parenting ourselves in that way, either sounds like one of our actual parents or someone who had authority over us in our formative years. So it could have been a coach, a teacher, a family member, a mentor, whatever that is. So just something to think about and look at, because it feels like that is not going to serve you moving forward. So you're being asked to really look at the fear base in that and really going, what if I, looked at it or experienced it through a lens of love, and I switched that around and said, okay, my parent feels a bit like, a bit harsh, a bit stern. What if I transform this parent with some love energy, like Gemini energy, and it was like a very loving parent? And instead, I only talk to myself the way that I would speak to a child that I love very much. I will only talk to myself the way that I wish I was spoken to when I was a kid. That's going to transform a lot for you. Okay, what else is going on? Hello. So we have the Knight of Cups here. I'm so here for this. This is just like right on target. So more water energy here. Knight of Cups is a dreamer. Knight of Cups is deeply connected to how he feels, his emotional desires, and he's really good at dreamscaping, right? He's all about the Pinterest board of like everything he dreams up. So it's brilliant. Not always brilliant on the follow through or the execution. It's interesting because when we had the beaver come up, we talked about the Knight of Cups, right? Because he's the King of Cups, and we talked about how the Knight of Cups is like the less mature, less experienced aspect of him. On the bottom of the deck, I just noticed as well, we have Eight of Pentacles. More beaver energy here with that, you know, hard work and talent or skill meeting up with divine opportunity and timing. So the fact that this is coming up for you, this is just a really strong call to just really enjoy where you are and tap into the dreamer within you. Not the taskmaster, the dreamer. This is not the time for the task. Your taskmaster is being asked to be given some love and some cuddles and to transform. It's not serving you. So this is really beautiful. This is coming up in this way. Also, this is the blue-footed booby bird. Funny name there, blue-footed booby, but that's what they are, and this is how they attract their mates, is by showing off their very blue feet. So I feel like this is another call to really take some attention and focus on what is unique to you, right, in your soul space, and how can you really, you know, honor that and go about, you know, where you're going in a way that really leans into and is supported by why you particularly are here. Meaning, what are your particular gifts? What do you want on a soul level that exists outside of obligation or should do, right? Really tapping into that heart core center and saying like, okay, what is my heart asking me to do? Where do I want to be? Where do I want to go? Also, this ocean in the background, we talk about that cryotherapy. You know, ocean is salt water. And salt water is incredibly healing and cleansing. So I'm also getting this image of taking salt baths, allowing yourself to really release and detoxify, and allowing yourself the time to just really be in your own cryo chamber is what this feels like. Or what's that other one? Deprivation? What is that? What's it called? The deprivation tank where you allow just you're in dark space and you're floating on salt water. That's what feels like is coming up for you, and it's going to be transformative, and you're going to feel a lot better for it. But there's stuff that wants to be removed from you, from your experience, from the way that you do things, from how you talk to yourself, and it can be, you know, transmuted through that salt water of just allowing yourself to detoxify and cleanse, right? Starfish, also salt water. Okay. Going on. Oh, hello. Fancy seeing you here. Ten of Cups. I love it because this is a frozen Arctic tundra scene, and we definitely had that frozen swimming pool, so I'm here for it. You know, Ten of Cups is brilliant. This is just one of the absolute best keys that there are. It speaks of emotional and family wellness, joy, community, togetherness, just feeling like you're just emotionally just feeling incredibly full-hearted. So I like this for you. It's also giving me these lovers vibes with the two penguins here and then the child. You know, traditionally in the Rider-Waite Coleman Tarot, there is a rainbow overneath the house with the family waving. So I do feel like there's something in this for you where it's really about aligning yourself to this reality, because when you think of where you're going or how you want to feel, does it look or feel like this? Right? I feel like that's going to bring you into some kind of perspective. And sometimes it's really just about connecting more consciously to your gratitude points, what you are grateful for, which manifests more to be grateful for. But I also feel like it brings into context, you know, it's like you're able to, through this lens, see things as they are, and not through a lens of like exaggerated perspective, right? Sometimes we can do that. Things seem bigger than they actually are. So it's giving you a healthy dose of perspective, right? because this denotes you either having or moving towards a really beautiful support system. So it's like leaning into that, and maybe that is the key with this frozen aspect here, where you're asked to, called to align yourself in this way so that you can really receive the full benefit of this family unit. It's like, why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you here? Why are you, right? The stuff that's coming up for transformation. A lot of this death stuff is clearing stuff from the past. So on the other side of doing that, there's emotional freedom, because when we are in, a loving connection with ourselves, then we're able to be in a loving connection with others. And what do they say? True love is freedom. True love is freedom. And you have the lovers here with the starfish. So sometimes bringing focus back to that love that you have, whether it's, that relationship with yourself that extends outwards, or even thinking about your partner, your family unit, your parents, your kids, whatever this is for your friends, chosen family, really connecting to that love around you, because you do have love around you, right? It's right here. Can be incredibly enlightening and also freeing. Love is freedom. It's really, really beautiful. Also, this aspect of like how things appear versus how they actually are, it feels like the lens is a bit skewed or a bit dirtied, and that cryo chamber, that going frozen and being where you are, right, is going to be incredibly helpful with clearing up that perspective. Because I feel you're either overworked or over emotionally wrought, and you're being called to come back into balance, duality, inner and outer alignment with this Gemini energy, right? Let's get some advice. Hello. Oh, look, King of Cups on the bottom. Hey. The moon. Would you look at this? The moon. So you've got Pisces energy here. This is really interesting, because the moon represents the unknown, our subconscious. It represents our inner fears and deepest, darkest feelings, and the parts of ourselves that are untamed and wild, right? I'm feeling called to talk about moon signs as placements. So your moon sign, I'm really hearing to take a look at your moon sign, could be the key to these emotional waters that we're talking about. Your moon sign are your factory settings, right? Your sun sign is what you're working towards in this life. Your moon sign, factory settings. With no personal work at all, this is how you came into the world, your moon sign, right? You don't have to work at it. It's who you are intrinsically at a deep soul level. So with this advice, I'm really hearing to take a look at your moon sign, do a little bit of research, and really look at how your moon sign, what it needs in order to feel safe and secure and balanced. Quick recommendation, Astro Twins. If you Google Astro Twins, they have great information on their site about your moon sign and what it means and what it needs in order to feel, protected and safe and nourished. So that's a little bit of homework for you guys, Aries. I don't always give it, but it's coming up for you, and it could be a bit of fun research as well. I feel like that's the key here. Back to this water, we have the two wolves here as depicted here. Normally it's a wolf and a dog, but here it's two wolves, lovers, inner and outer duality, two towers. But we also have these bats here. Guess what bat energy is? Death energies. You got that energy as well. So what this is your advice, really connect into those factory settings and see how they are or are not serving you at this time, and how to maybe give some love towards it and really, work on your own team, work for your own betterment, and really prioritize, the inner parts of you that are coming up for healing and realignment. It's really nice. Let's go ahead and get an oracle. Let's get an oracle. Oracle for Aries. Brilliant. I create what best serves me. Illusions, birth, spider, and sacral chakra. Now, what's fascinating about this is that spider energy, it does represent writers, but it also represents the stories that we tell ourselves and the stories that were imposed upon us by our ancestors, our parents, authority figures. We talked about this, that parental voice, right? I create what best serves who? Me, which is, I feel, linking up to that moon sign energy to take a look at that and really investigate that with and for yourself. Illusions, how things appear, starfish, versus what they actually are. We were talking about that aspect of the skewed lens, right? And then birth with this family unit here, but also it's a rebirth. That's death energy, right? Something ending and dying so that it can be reborn, just like you coming out of that frozen swimming pool, a makeshift cryo chamber, and then into the next chapter with that beaver energy of being able to go into a life that is balanced and satisfied and fulfilled. It's really beautiful, Aries. It's really, really beautiful. Beautiful. Also remembering that, you are a co-creator and you have the ability to create the experience that you desire. The step is aligning to what that is from an inner belief system, because what you feel and what you believe on the inside is going to be directly reflected in your physical experiences, circumstances, and the people, places, things, and lessons that you attract, right? So it's like tending to the inner landscape so that your outer landscape is as beautiful as you are, right? Really, really stunning, Aries. With that being said, I so hope that this helps and resonates. If so, let me know in the comments below. I love reading your comments, and I feel like Aries, y'all tend to be a little bit quiet on them comments. So talk to me. I want to know how you're doing and how this reading is finding you. How are you feeling about, the year ahead and Yule season? And with that being said, just thank you. Thank you so, so much for being here. And as always, thank you for being you. And be well. Until next time.